All right, so the last thing that we need to talk about, let's use this pretty orange. We need to talk about percent, I can't spell. Percent yield, okay? So percent yield is one of my favorite things, which I mentioned in the PowerPoint, just because it just is more like realistic whenever you're talking about a lab scenario. So a percent yield is just simply a ratio of your actual yield over your theoretical. So let's talk about what those theoretical, talk about what those mean. And then, of course, because it's a percent, we have to multiply by 100. Okay, so actual, this refers to like experimental data. Why can't I write? Okay, I need to write that all out. Sorry. Okay, so what I mean by this is like you go into an experiment or you go into a lab and you perform your experiment, and then you finally, after hours and hours and so much work, you get your product out and you put it on this little weigh station and you tear your weigh boat out and you put your stuff on there and you get a number, okay? That's what I mean by experimental. It is your actual yield. That's what you get out. Your theoretical, though, your theoretical yield is what you calculated. Okay, so your theoretical yield, this is what we've been doing this entire Unit 9. Okay, so we've been talking about how to find a theoretical yield the whole time. You probably think that you would rather find actual yield than theoretical yield, but I promise you, you would not. Actual yield is really fun because you get to actually be in an experiment, you get to perform it, but it never goes as planned, whereas a theoretical yield, you have steps set up, it is smooth sailing as long as you know what steps you're doing. So let's talk about the different formats that theoretical yield can come in. I can just give you numbers, like I could tell you your theoretical yield was 5 grams and your actual yield was 5 grams and your theoretical was 10. Okay, so your percent yield would be actual, so 5 over theoretical, 10 times 100. So that's a half times 100, you'd get a 50% yield, okay? That is one way. You could just be given the two numbers, or you could have a problem where you are given, say you have, you're making water, and say I give you 2 grams of hydrogen. I want to know how many grams of water you get out. Okay, so this situation would be a mass-to-mass calculation where you would have to solve for the water, and then that would give you grams of water, and this would be your theoretical yield. Okay, because you calculated it. Okay, so all this stuff that we've done, all of this stuff, all right, all of it, that can be used to come up with a theoretical yield. It's really just fair game. It's any type of calculation that you now know how to do. So this is any type of factor labeling. So that's your theoretical yield. And then your actual has to be given to you because you're not performing experiments, so you can't find your on. So this will be given, okay, and this you can find it. And then once you know both, you're just going to use this setup and find your percentage. The actual concept of percent yield is very simple because this is just a fraction times 100. So it really is not anything complicated. I think people get more confused when they start thinking about this part, this theoretical part. So the theoretical is just simply something that you calculate. And if you have made it to this point and you know stuff about all these calculations, like if you know how to do a mass to mass, you can get this answer, and then once you're given your actual, you can just put them in a fraction and be done. So that's all there is to know about theoretical yield.